The coaches ranked Jackson State in the top 25. Also, JSU has two more games that'll be on the ESPN Family and Networks, bringing their total up to 10. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr here with Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Excuse me. Like, share, subscribe, and the notification bells. We upload every single day. Now, JSU, they have been ranked by the coaches in the top 25 of the coaches poll preseason. They're ranked number 17 to be exact. Let me go ahead and share with you my screen. And let's talk about it a little bit about Jackson State being ranked in the top 25. Now, as you see, this is the AFCA coaches poll. Hold on, let me go ahead and keep scrolling. We got North Dakota State coming in at number 1. They finished the season 14-1. That's a no-brainer. But if you keep scrolling, look at that. And coming in, checking in at number 17 with an 11-2 record from last season, and with their first game coming September 4th, is Jackson State, led by head coach Deion Sanders. The Tigers ranked 17. You know, at one point last year, they were in the top 25. I'm not sure if they finished. I don't think they finished the season in the top 25, but they start the season at number 17. How far do you guys believe the Tigers can move up the rankings? You guys know their schedule. You know they play tough teams like FAMU, got Grambling early in the season. Let's just go ahead and bring up the JSU schedule. Why not? Because that would make a lot of sense, and that would help us, in determining how far we think they could go up. Early in the season matchup, Southern Heritage Classic, Orange Blossom Classic, the WC Gordon Classic against Grambling, Southern on the schedule, Alabama A&M on the schedule, Alcorn on the schedule. No crazy out-of-conference games. And then, of course, Campbell. We talked about how Campbell could be a team who was one of the teams that could ruin the JSU season. So let me go ahead and pull up their schedule. But how far, put in the chat, put in the comments, how far do you guys believe that Coach Prime and the Tigers can move up those rankings? How far do you think the guys can be, whether it's throughout the season or by the end of the year? How far with this schedule right here? No other teams, no other HBCUs, no other SWAC schools in the top 25 of the coaches poll. Let's see. No other SWAC schools, no other MEAC schools, and that's the majority of the JSU schedule are in the top 25. And so Jackson State, according to the coaches poll, won't have overly impressive wins. If nobody else is on your schedules in the top 25, that means to them your schedule isn't that strong. And that goes back to the whole, you guys play a week schedule thing. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the actual schedule. We know FAMU is going to have an amazing season. A lot of us out here in this media space believe Tennessee State, specifically me, and because of the additions that Coach Eddie George has made and the quarterback that he was able to bring in, is going to have a pretty good season. I think they were even preseason favorites in the OVC, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can check me on that. But Tennessee State is going to be a really good team. And that's a team that could finish in the top 25 by the end of the year, especially if they ended up winning their conference. You got Grambling, who I think is going to be a sleeper team in the SWAC. I think Grambling is going to be a team that is being picked in the middle of the pack in their division. They're a team that's going to surprise some people, get some surprise wins probably on the year. Valley is going to be really good. They were picked to finish last in the SWAC. They're not going to finish last. Alabama State's an interesting team. Brought in a bunch of talent. They brought in a quarterback who could be special, has the potential to be special, but it all depends on what you're able to do out on the field. But if he lives up to some of that potential with some of that talent that they have on that, Bama State could be a sneaky good team. Bethune-Cookman, another team that has some really good players. Campbell's brought in a lot of recruits, but Campbell was still an up-and-coming program. They only won 3 games last year, but a lot of people like what Campbell was doing. Southern is the team that's picked to win the SWAC West. So Southern is going to be a hell of a ball game for JSU. We know that, but we're just going through the schedule. Texas Southern has a lot of people's preseason favorite for Offensive Player of the Year, and Andrew Body. Andrew Body is a beast at quarterback. Andrew Body is arguably the best quarterback in the entire conference. You got Alabama A&M, who's always going to be able to score points. Coach Maynard and those Bulldogs are always going to be able to score points. You got your big-time rival game, the whiteout against Alcorn, SWAC championship game, and then ultimately, if all things go your way, the Celebration Bowl. I think let's just do, best case scenario. Your best case scenario is go undefeated. If you go undefeated, I think you crack the top 5 by the end of the season. If you go undefeated, the reason why I don't think you can be considered, or the coaches aren't going to vote for you number 1, is because you don't play in the FCS playoff. And so they're always going to give leniency at the end of the rankings to the champion of the FCS playoffs. So whether that's North Dakota State this year, Montana, South Dakota State, Montana State, whoever, I think Jackson State is going to get the shorter end of the stick, meaning I don't think you have a realistic chance of being number 1. I just don't. Not with this schedule. Even if you go undefeated, I think you could finish inside the top 5, but number 1, I don't think is realistic. Worst case scenario is you drop a couple of these games and you finish unranked. So, I guess that is neither here nor there. So, but Jackson State is ranked number 17 in the coaches poll of the FCS programs going into the season. Right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to see. Now, also, this came out recently. Jackson State now has 10 games, 10 football contests, 10 football games to be televised on the ESPN family of networks. Now, some people saw this, and this is a good thing to a certain extent. I'm not crazy about it because most of the games on ESPN Plus. Let's take a look at them. So, of course, you got the OBC on that's going to be on ESPN2. You got the Grambling game that'll be on ESPN3. That, to me, is better. And the reason why, and it's very nitpicky, but it's the truth. This is a real thing, though. If you have basic cable, right, that gets ESPN, and say if you have a Spectrum account or, and it has ESPN, your basic cable covers your ESPN3 coverage. So if JSU or Bethune or Alabama State or Grambling, whoever plays on ESPN3, if you have a login with your basic cable, you can watch those games. ESPN Plus is something totally different. You have to actually pay for a subscription service to watch the games on ESPN Plus. Now, lucky for JSU fans, one of the games that is on ESPN Plus will also be on HBCU Go, and HBCU Go is free. So the Campbell game on October 22nd. That's interesting how they were able to work that out. But according to the schedule that Atlanta reporter Samuel Crenshaw put out, the Campbell game for JSU will be on HBCU Go. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. That way you guys don't think I'm just making this stuff up. Yes. The Campbell game on the Jackson State game, homecoming game against Campbell on October 22nd will be on HBCU Go, according to Mr. Samuel Crenshaw. Now, the only problem with that is his schedule. Now, this is super this is super minute, but his schedule says that game. Well, I guess we could look at the official JSU game. That game is at 2:00, but his schedule says it's at 4. So I don't know if that means HBCU Go will be playing the replay of that game. I don't know how that works out. But he also has the HBCU Go getting the Jackson State at Bethune-Cookman the week before. And this says that game is also on ESPN Plus. So there is a little bit confusion going on there with what's taking place with HBCU Go and what's taking place with ESPN Plus. I'd much rather it be on HBCU Go because his, this says 3:00. His schedule says 1:00. The JSU schedule says 3:00. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. So we will have to wait and see on that. I actually just noticed that, and that's interesting. But these are the games, and hopefully, if these games are simulcast, meaning they're being broadcasted on ESPN and HBCU Go. It's better because ESPN Plus is a subscription-based platform, meaning you have to pay an extra on top of your cable package to get these games. But that's kind of discrediting that schedule Mr. Samuel Crenshaw put out because ESPN don't simulcast. They simulcast with themselves, but they typically don't simulcast games that they're covering with someone else. You don't typically see an ESPN game, whether it's on an ESPN platform linear, as far as 1, 2, 3, U, whatever, and it also being on NBC streaming service. You get what I'm saying? Like they don't typically, that ain't something they do. So that now I'm actually just now noticing that is making this schedule that I put out there, that Mr. Samuel Crenshaw put out there, it's kind of putting some monkey wrenches in his games, his time slots. It's making it look kind of funny now that the more and more I'm seeing it. So that is something to watch. That is something to look forward, to watch out for too, because HBCU Go hasn't officially announced or released their schedule. These are all leaks that are coming out from different people, whether it's different people saying different stuff or this Mr. Samuel Crenshaw guy. Like different people are putting out the leaks, and they haven't officially tweeted or put out a press release or whatever their actual game schedule. It's getting pretty close. They might want to get on top of that. But these are the 10 JSU games that will be on the ESPN family of networks. I'm always cool with them being on linear as far as ESPN2. I love them being on ESPN3. It's easy for the people that already have cable access. ESPN Plus, I'm not crazy about. But if you want to see the Tigers, to guarantee that you're going to see the Tigers every single week, but outside of just going to the games, you can pay to like $5.99 or whatever it is a month to get JSU on ESPN Plus. What are your thoughts on Jackson State being ranked number 17 in the coaches poll and getting 10 games on the ESPN family networks? Are you cool with that? Does it not matter? Are you just ready for the season to start? Let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYjr. with Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And I will see you next time. Peace.